Yes, we are live.
Mhm. Hello.
We're live.
Oh, go ahead. This you.
You're
Oh,
back.
I
Come
thought you
on,
wanted
you're
to do
back.
it.
Yay, Sherman.
You do your.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the latest episode of CAG Chat. I'm joined by my host, Derek Holmesley, Tanya Wingfield, Donna Goodman is here with us today, and also Levon Reedy Thomas. And of course, I'm your co host, Sherman Hardy. It's a pleasure to see you all again. So much has transpired since the last time that we have gathered here. Um, and I expect us to have a lively conversation tonight. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something. All right, Levon, go ahead. We're taking it away with hot topics. I'm open
You for,
mic.
don't forget our disclaimer.
Until we do something legal, we're fine.
We are not attorneys. That's what we're gonna say. Sue us. All right. Open
But
mic.
remember, Discovery's coming.
Yes. So open mic. I'm sorry, I got some a guest in my house. Um.
Oh, you're not going to do the full disclaimer?
Oh.
No, actually, we don't need to unless we actually say something that's
We may.
the disclaimer for.
We may.
Okay, well, we are not attorneys. We are not legal experts. We are residents, private citizens, and professionals. And we pay taxes here in Prince George's County. So we want good governance. I learned a new term this past week, ethical governance. And I've been killing it in my posts. Ethical governance. Well, not my posts, my comments. And so we request information, we read information, we access information, all the things that you can do. We encourage you to do it. We share what we can. We pay for what we need. We have a GoFundMe link, and you can find that on our page, our Facebook page. So make sure if you like what we're doing and you want to help us with postage and paper and registration fees and filing fees and all the things, do that. And so, anyway, it's been a hot week in Prince George's County, even though the temperatures have been down in the 20s and the 30s. So my first open mic, sorry, we changed that longer. My first open mic comment is about the Republicans. The Republicans of Prince George's County, Southern Maryland, are up in our chat, y'all. They are killing it with the comments. We had a couple of posts that just got them going. Now, mind you, as Sherman monitors who our followers are, he says the Republicans have been following us for a minute. And that may be true, but I didn't know who they were. But they're letting us know who they are now. And so we welcome you all to the conversation. We thank you
Mm-hmm.
all for being engaged and for sharing your opinions about the state and the county. So keep being engaged. We're all well, we all Americans right now. We don't know what we might be in another week, but anyway, we Americans, so we all have a place at the table. Any commentary? Anybody want to say anything about that? No?
I'm always going to be an American.
Okay. So number two, how do I want to do this? Number two is the musical chairs of our county council. They just won't stop the shenanigans. So first it was Calvin Hawkins resigning and getting a job as a deputy chief administrative officer in economic development, real estate, or something. After he said on our interview that he didn't know a lot about economic development, and he relied on the experts. But he got a job now doing that. So he moved out of the at-large seat, and then the council decided to just appoint Walla Blagay, who was the District 6 member, to his seat, even though they had 30 something applicants. They just decided she was the best one because she had been on the council before.
Don't forget, because she's an attorney too now.
Oh, and she's an attorney, even though you're not allowed to practice law when you're a city elected person. Okay. Then we have, so now her District 6 seat is empty. So then we had several people who applied. I forget the number, 20 something people. I think it was applied to or submitted their names to be in the District 6 seat. And we sat through their 2-minute introductions, and I posted. Green was, they did a really well-rounded job. Yellow was, they hit some good points, but didn't quite, to me, present themselves as a qualified candidate. And red was, nothing they said meant anything to being a council member. And so that seat was given to, what's her, Danielle Hunter.
Monroe. Yes.
And she was the appointment secretary for the county executive, Brave Boy, who came online prior to the whole introduction segment and gave her support and endorsement. And I will say this, I had a conversation with Miss Hunter, and live and in person, face to face, so this is not gossip or hearsay. And she told me she didn't owe anybody any favors, that she did this and da da da. What do you mean you don't owe nobody favors? This is politics. Nobody shows up and nominates you or endorses you for something without an expectation.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just nonsense. So, she said she wasn't sure if she was going to run for the seat in June, but give her a chance to prove herself, because she told me, oh, you gave me yellow. I sure did. And so now, then we had Ingrid Watson, the person who represents District 4, but was seen living in District 6. But we couldn't get her any penalties or punishment. They had a behind closed door meeting with her, with the council, and basically whatever they decided is probably what we're seeing now, and that is that she doesn't run again. But man, what a consolation prize. She just got a $245,000 job as the president and CEO of Economic Development Corporation, which is a quasi-government nonprofit organization. And I say quasi-government because the bulk of their monies come from Prince George's County government. And we have been in robust conversation on Facebook about whether or not she's qualified. If you read her bio, which is on the council's website, nothing that's in that bio says that she knows how to generate economic growth. Doing a shovel, groundbreaking, or ribbon cutting, or voting on a project as the district council member, or sitting on a board.
Just like no experience to show qualifications.
Right, leading the AKA organization is not what we need in the president of the Economic Development Corporation. And so folks mad. Folks are like, well, what's the problem? She need a job. Listen.
That's it. She need a job.
I know Ingrid well enough to know what she has done professionally. And I believe that I am quite qualified in my experience to say that she's not the right choice. They should have done a search. For over a year, they had another staff person who they elevated to the acting position. So if she wasn't worthy of the role, then they should have been doing a national search instead of playing politics and waiting for the special election of the county executive to happen so that they could see what the county executive wanted. And even when the county executive gave her comments about her, she was like, well, she knows the players. She's been on the Council of Governments. That's not enough. She didn't chair the Council of Governments. So, say what you want about me, y'all.
Was she ever in the chair spot on the council?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I didn't see that in her bio. And so say what you want. This ain't personal. This is politics, and this is about our money. And if somebody can get a job who's not qualified, then why don't we just open the doors and give everybody a job? How about that?
You get a job. You get a
Right,
job.
you get a job, you get a job. And then the other thing I want to mention is that we've had 2 appointments in District 27. We had a senator replacement, and now we've had a delegate replacement. And the delegate is Daryl Odom, who was not the vote from the Democratic Central Committee, who entertains nominees for appointments. The governor picked Daryl Odom over the woman, I don't know her name, from Charles County. Now that's the real interesting thing. Like, really? Like, that's what we doing now? So then in District 24, former delegate Jazz Lewis also resigned. He's over at the University of Maryland making pretty money. And so that seat was given to Derek Coley, who works in the Department of Environment as like a deputy, some type of deputy manager position. So here's my question here. He can get 90 days off of work to go serve in Annapolis? When I know people who have been on FMLA, who have had health modifications on their employment status, whose doctors said they needed to work remotely unless it was to show up for a meeting, and their jobs have been threatened, and some of them have been forced to retire. But you can take he's not an appointee, but he's not necessarily merit, I believe. So he serves what they call at the pleasure of. So how can you justify, and I know Derek too, this ain't personal, we talking process and policy, y'all. We cannot just let things skate by, because it gets messier and messier and messier. And before you know it, the manure, manure ain't nothing but a nice name for poop. So before you know it, the poop pile has overwhelmed us. So I don't think it's right that he can leave his job for 90 days to serve in Annapolis, representing the interests of the county and the county executive, but
Wow.
People who need to work from home, who are doing their jobs, can't do that for health reasons. Anybody got something to say about
Now, wait a minute. He's gonna be working on behalf of the county, well, basically our government.
Right.
Isn't that conflict of interest?
I would say so. I would think so, especially since it's the Department of Environment and it's already controversial over there. Now, with Derek Coley, it's not about qualifications. I mean, I supported Latasha Ward for the seat because Latasha has run for the seat. She came in 4th in the last election. To me, she would have been the person to get the seat. I wasn't at the nomination hearing, so I don't know who said what and how well they presented or anything like that. But I just have a problem with an employee being gone for 90 days to do this, especially since the ethics committee said no more double dipping. And then there's the Senator Muse, who I heard had resigned his county job, but I haven't seen anything official. I heard it from a couple of people. So anyway, anybody else have a comment on that? No, y'all quiet. Okay.
No, I was going to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
These the musical chairs that the council is doing, and it's almost like some of the stuff we saw happening on the school board, and I will just say some of the same characters that were on the school board are on the council and appear to be doing the same thing, where they create vacancies so they can purposely fill them. And so it's almost like that letter that we got when the progressives were getting people to run for school board and then but drop out at the last minute, so that it would be between their true pick and someone else, so that they can box out other people, or they just go through and get elected and then resign so they can have one of their people appointed. This is not what our laws were established to do. We basically have it seems like in our county government right now, we have people that really don't reflect the will of the people. Too many appointed people, especially with our legislators, too many appointed people that do not reflect the will of the people. And we probably need to look at how the language in our charter and other laws that govern this need to be reworked. So because folks have found a loophole and are taking advantage.
Uh-oh, you went into outer space.
Outer space.
So in 2022, per the county attorney, not 2022, 2002, I don't remember this, but there was a ballot question that asked the voters if they wanted to change from special elections at any time to only having special elections during the first 3 years of a term. And then in the 4th year of the term, if someone resigned, you would have an appointment process. Well, they have 30 days to make the appointment. But with the Wallace situation, they put it out a couple of days before Christmas, and then or for her replacement, a couple of days before Christmas. No, I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up. With Calvin, it was a couple of days before Christmas, and then people on holiday, and it was the information was due that Monday. And then they did it, or that Friday, and then they did everything on Monday. And that's the other thing. They're doing these things on Fridays. I don't think the law stipulates when, like what day of the week they have to do it. But why are you rushing it? Why, if you have 30 days to do it, why not give the window of time so people can comment, so you can make the list public, so that we can have input? We're not voting, but we can have our voices heard. And so we need to have this looked at again, because they are abusing.
District 6 was done in a similar fashion.
Right. Well, but they did give a little bit more time, just because
a few days.
Right, but it felt different because it wasn't the holiday. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. We need to have a schedule of what happens. The person resigns. It's introduced that the seat is open. You have your timeline for submitting your name. They have X number of days to review the submissions. You do your public introduction, and then they can have the vote. There was no deliberation about anybody. And that chick, I'm sorry, y'all, Danielle Hunter was not good. She actually presented like, yeah, I got this, because it was on the grapevine in the streets that it was going to be her anyway. And so I'm really keyed into her presentation, and her presentation was like, well, I don't really have to say that much. I volunteered at Cameron Grove, and my husband is a pilot, and we give scholarships to kids to learn how to fly.
Well, I think and the part too that should be more frustrating is the county executive coming in and putting her thumb on the scale with that. It shows a lack of professional courtesy to the people. Well, it shows just a lack of, to me, respect to the will of the people. Nobody want to hear who you think is good. Just keep your mouth shut. Do not do that. But you know what? She's famous for that.
She did the same thing for Derek Coley. I heard they rallied. Well, I don't want to say what I heard, because we try not to do that. But anyway, she did the same thing. And then you got Democratic Central Committee members who don't even show up because they don't want to cast a vote against who the senator or the county executive wants. Then why are we spending money putting their names on ballots if they don't have the freedom to exercise their intellectual choice?
Well, I think it's just a total disrespect to the citizens for the county executive to interject herself. And I don't care, any county executive to interject themselves like that. it's fine. You want who you want, but keep your mouth shut. Do not put
Right,
your thumb on the scale
right.
and try to sway people because we know how politics work. And here, oh, that's who she wants. That she'll give me what I want. I'll give her what she wants. Who who cares about what the people want?
Right.
And it just shows a lack of sincere respect for your constituents. And we
Right.
are all your constituents, even if we didn't vote for you at this point, because you
Yep.
represent us all.
Yep. It's the same thing. Red state, blue state. We all Americans for now anyway. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about in open mic is the sphere. This big announcement that the governor and the county executive had a whole video walking at National Harbor.
Oh, God.
Okay.
What are those awards that they give those bad movies, Whammy Awards or whatever?
Oh,
That those script. I think we already told them. No, you didn't tell them.
uh-huh.
But go
So
ahead.
just to get it started, the sphere is spelled Sphere. It is pronounced Sfear. Okay. So if y'all gonna talk about it, it's like shrimp is not scrimps. Same thing. Let's. So anyway, they want to bring this Las Vegas sphere to sit it next to MGM. It's half the size or something like that.
Only
Supposed to
6,000
bring
seats.
in hundreds of millions of dollars or millions of dollars and hire thousands of people. And it's like a 4-year window for the project. And supposedly it's going to generate more money than Six Flags and the football team combined.
How?
So is this a political opportunity? Because, what do y'all think of this thing? I
Look,
don't like it.
the math don't math. You got 6,000 seats max. 6,000 seats. How many A-list performers are going to come for a 6,000 seat concert? So let's just say that tickets are $200 across the board. That's only $1.2 million collected, which is going to have to pay the artists, all their crew. It's going to have to pay security. It's going to have to pay all the workers in the concession, all the money that has to be split up. And we're talking about $1.2 million. So do we really think that a Bruno Mars or a Beyonce is going to come and play in a 6,000 seater venue? And that's only at the max if, keeping tickets affordable.
Oh, they
Um,
ain't never affordable. And
Well,
then
yeah, but let's just say affordable is 200. I don't think people are going to be paying no three or $400 for the tickets. But even if they did the $400, that's still only $2.4 million. There's no way in the world it's going to generate the income like they're saying. The math just does not come. It doesn't math.
And
It makes
then what effect does that have on MGM's shows? Because
right.
MGM doesn't seat 6,000 people. And then there's the traffic.
The
When there's a
traffic.
concert at MGM, the traffic is gridlock. So what if
Mm-hmm.
MGM and the Sphere have an event at the same time? And let's not
Right.
even talk about the Gaylord, which I was going to mention that the Gaylord was the disappointment. I got sidetracked in my thoughts. The Gaylord was a disappointment. When you go to the Gaylord in is it Nashville? Yeah, Nashville. It is
Mm-hmm.
totally different than the one
Huge.
here. It is
Yes.
nice. It's like being in Las Vegas when you go to the one down south. I've never been to
Right.
the one in Florida, and I think there's one in Texas. Um, and so that was disappointing. MGM, not so much because I saw all of the original plans and I understood the why it was designed the way it was designed. What's disappointing about MGM is we can't keep any stores in it.
Mm.
So, and like on National Harbor, there's really no shopping, they're boutique little shops, but it's just not a go-to for shopping, a shopping
Mm-hmm.
experience. So I don't know what the Sphere is going to add, but anybody else? I don't like it for it's too close to the highway.
Well, Well, the other places that where it is, there are numbers out there, concrete numbers of losses in the millions, quarter after quarter in Vegas. I was watching the video before we came on for the UK, where after doing their impact study, they just said no.
Oh,
They-
really?
yeah, they just abandoned it because they said one, they looked at the parking and the issues that they weren't going to be able to address with parking. Looking at what's happening in Vegas. So they abandoned their efforts. And, our folks just think all they got to do is a video with two people walking down a freaking boardwalk and laughing and talking about, oh, like you're having a secret conversation. You don't know you're being taped.
Looking like
Um,
they directing airplanes coming into National Airport.
right.
And it's going to be, and that
I
drives
mean,
me nuts.
give me the numbers. Let us see. We are smart enough to read for ourselves. Give us the
Hmm.
numbers and stop all this fake out. So that's what I don't like. Cautious because of the fact that whenever they start building around here, and I know somebody challenged me, and I'm going to talk about that later, about residents in this area subsidizing what is happening over at the National Harbor and all the other areas over there where they're doing development. I don't want to see that without papers that are going to show all the impact. I don't need you because I'm sorry, y'all do not tell the truth. So I cannot take you for face value because you tell. Let me just stop saying, you don't tell the truth. Y'all tell lies, straight up lies.
Hmm. Well, anybody else have a comment about all those things? No, y'all gonna play mute silence tonight?
Cat got your tongue.
I have a comment, but I thought you said it was open mic, so I was letting you finish your open mic, and then I will give mine.
Oh, okay. You got a new top. Go ahead.
Well, it's just a comment. Just this week we just celebrated the birthday and the holiday of one of the most profound prophetic speakers for civil rights, not just of Black people, in my opinion, but of all people. And we are looking at the musical chairs in this county, and he fought for just civil rights of basic rights for Black people at first, and then for all minorities' rights, and for us to live in harmony with all races. And it's disturbing for me to see us now, 50 plus years later, seeing the culmination of his prophetic speeches as a race and be able to be hired into executive jobs and be on county council, uh, in county council positions and in Congress and on school boards. And I'm speaking specifically to African Americans who have been blessed enough to hold these seats now. Where is your integrity? Where's your morals? And where's your understanding of what Dr. Martin Luther King fought for us as a race and as the human race as a whole? When we elect people into these positions, we're thinking we're electing people with integrity, intestinal fortitude, and a person that has come up with some morals for all people. But I just have to say it out. If I'm offensive, I'm sorry. But then again, I'm not sorry. African Americans, those of you who have ascended to these positions, you have totally lost the whole cause of why we fought to be in these positions, to accept what the Luciferian satanic movement and power has to offer you when you get in these positions. The balls, the food, the cars, the nice houses. That is not why uh, Dr. King spoke up and lost his life for us to hold positions like that. He spoke up for us to have equality across the board, for the Caucasian rights, for the Black rights, for the Hispanic rights, every race that is on this earth. and you should be ashamed. And I always say this, you will have to answer for your actions and how you are performing in these jobs, grinning and skinning and making money and having fun in your seats, but you are not doing anything for the people, we the people as a whole.
And that
Mhm.
is open mic on January 21st, 2026.
Donna, you didn't have anything? Oh, Donna's stuck. I think Donna's stuck. Okay. So
Who's next? Dead air costs money.
I have a question. I want to put a question out there because I know we've all seen this dollars and decisions constantly going around talking about our school budget, and we're $150 million. We had $150 million deficit. I did attend the community meeting of Dr. Felton Moss, where they were, talking about these upcoming community sessions that they're having about the budget. And um and it was also attended by board member Lolita Walker. Now, I I I I love it for board members to go out there and be engaged with the community. What I don't like is when you decide that you're going to peddle misinformation and have people believe it because of your position. That part I don't like. So, there's a narrative going around talking about, and it's partially true. So that's why people could get caught up and believe it. So the narrative that is being pushed out here is that, we have a $150 million deficit, but guess what? Guess what happened? Guess what happened? Before Senator Brooks left, guess what she did? She got the General Assembly to,
HB 396 and 397.
there you go, and take that communications and energy tax money and move it down to the county so that they could basically pay their education bills. And then one of the things that was said was, but guess what, guys? They didn't pay their share basically in the last school year. And I was just like, wait a minute, are you trying to say that the um, county government failed to do their maintenance of effort, which is required by law? I mean, because I was just like, that doesn't make sense. That's required by law that they must do. So they're conflating a lot of information on this tour that they're making about the dollars and decisions, and even to the point where they're using, and this is anybody that has been involved in education since, well, for me, it's been since 1998 when my kids started going to school in Prince George's County. But when Dr. Iris Metz came in, she tried to get folks to understand the importance of our county council or local government building out a tax base so that we could do local investment and have more say over our dollars, like Montgomery County. And so now they're peddling this message. Well, guess how much Montgomery County pays just from locally towards their education and not out of their general fund like we're doing. And I was just like, guys, this isn't new information. They're running around like this is some big revelation. Dr. Metz brought this out to people back in 2002. So all of this is being, in my opinion, being pushed out there to blame so many other different people so that people will not see what happened when the board voted on a contract for Dr. Sean Joseph, which board member Lolita Walker said, well, we know that, we have issues and there's some problems with the contract, but we'll deal with the legal on the back end. Remember, you signed the contract, but now you say you'll deal with all the legal deficiencies in the contract on the back end. once you sign it, it becomes binding. So I don't know what you're going to deal with on the back end. That was probably one of the most craziest things I've ever heard somebody say in leadership. But there are so many things that happen after that voting on that contract for Sean Joseph. He came in before he had full authority, any authority, because his appointment wasn't supposed to be effective until the 1st of July, but he goes in on the 27th. He's going out on the 27th of June and firing people, just firing people, telling them they are out. And then all of a sudden ushering in many people that have ties to Aisha Braveboy, Edward Burrows, bringing those people in. And so we're paying salaries, 2 salaries for 1 position, because you got to pay out the person that you unjustly fired. And now you got to pay the person that you just brought in. And then you're bringing all those people up with even higher salaries. And that it has a lot to do with some of the bad legislation that we have in place. So he did all that. They gave raises. They approved a union contract that they knew they didn't have the money to sustain. And then the board, once they ushered Mr. House out, then they added all their monies for their pet projects onto the budget when they did their reconciliation, so that they started creating positions in central office for their family and friends positions. So now you want to come to us, because let's remember, and you all can go back and look at the video, Chief Hal presented to the board, when Millard House was still here, a balanced budget to the board. But because I keep hearing board members like, well, we have our priorities. Your oversight. We don't care about your priorities. Your oversight. You are supposed to be aligned with the day-to-day operations of the board and making sure that those things are being done right. You're not supposed to be coming up here with all of your own ideas. But anyway, they added all of this stuff on it, but now they want to fool people and want us to think that Angela Alsobrooks, a lack, and some of it is due to it, but it's not. We had the opportunity to have a balanced budget. Chief Howe put it before the board. The board rejected it and did the wrong
They
thing.
raised it as well at the same time.
Exactly. And put in all of these chiefs and these deputy superintendents that my thing is, if Dr. Sean Joseph has all this experience, like we said, why does he need all these assistants? Why does he need all these advisors? It just doesn't make sense to me. He needs a lot of help for somebody with all this experience making $300,000 for 1 year. So if you all really want to know where your money, and then the other thing, try to be slick, and now that people are calling him out on this in those decisions and dollar meetings, that he was taking money from the budgets of local schools. He was taking money from their budgets, and then it's going to say, well, we don't see what the impact is going to be. How can you say that? You're taking the money in November. School doesn't end until June. I mean, that's just common sense. That, to me, that is a lack of common sense of a leader to say something that silly. You're taking money from them to try to balance the budget to keep all the mess that you've created in central office, where students are. Students are nowhere near central office. Your customers are in classrooms, and that is where the dollars should be, in the classrooms. But you're taking money from them saying, oh, we didn't see an impact. Well, it's only November when you start snatching the money from them. So how are you going to know it will not be an impact in January, February, March, April, May? It makes no sense. So that's just a brief overview of it, and y'all can do comments. But my thing is, Dr. Sean Joseph, at the end of your 1 year, going back to Howard, because we don't need that little 100-day plan that you claimed that you had. Oh, and the lie you're telling about you have filled vacancies. You did it by hiring provisional teachers. So all of this work that has been done over the years to put certified teachers into the classrooms, you just set us back. Also, that you can bump up your numbers to make it look good because the permanent search for the superintendent is about to happen, and you don't want the county executive to look bad because she's trying to run on education and say how she's done all this great stuff for education. So parents understand you now have more uncertified teachers sitting in the classroom with your students, all because of politics and people trying to look good so that you don't see all the sham and the mess that was made by them doing so much illegal stuff to get Millard House out of his position. What do y'all say? What say you?
Well, sometimes it's not it's the why you're doing something is a good thing, but how you're doing it makes it a not good thing. Do we need to fill teaching positions? Yes, we do. But don't act like they are certified teachers. You know, words mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the certification lasts for 5 years. So it's not like a 2-year situation where you can go to school and get your teaching certification or get a master's degree or whatever. And then the whole production of it all. With the thing that gets me is they sponsored legislation to separate the county executive's authority over, the school system, but yet the school system can't do anything without Aisha Braveboy standing there.
That's because of Sean Joseph. He's doing the bidding of his master.
Right. The acting state's attorney can't do nothing without her taking over the press conference.
Right.
So she got she's doing 3 things. She running three agencies, or 2 branches of government and an agency. And so I think that the sad part of this is, if these people pass the background check, if these people are professionals who maybe are in a different career situation, maybe they're federal employees who lost their jobs, and so they bring a certain experience and expertise to the students, then why not just say that? Why not just say, you know what? We're giving opportunities to people, and here's what this looks like. But to get up and be like, we filled the positions. That's just not, it's just playing.
It's deceptive.
Yeah, just playing games.
Or not only that, to get up here and say our cuts will not impact class sizes. If that is not
right.
I'm telling you, if that is not the spin, we know it's not going to affect. I mean, there's a reason why he used class sizes. And that was to get people's mind off of cutting programs, taking money out of school budgets. The things that and it is calculated, it is deceptive, and for me, I'm just so glad my kids are not in the school system anymore. But
Me too.
It is time for us to stop
to the good
accepting
teachers
this.
and the good administrators. And the other thing is, you just want children to get what they're supposed to have.
Right.
The kids are not responsible for the decisions of the adults, for the sins of the fathers, for the crimes of the crooks. But they're the ones who end up suffering after it's all said and done.
Yep.
And defending these people. And then the other thing is, it's kind of like Aisha and the way she came in and cleaned house. She didn't clean up nothing. She just cleaned house, cleared people out, and put people in positions as though she was having a full 4-year term.
Right.
This man only supposed to be here for a year. He done hired people, fired people. You know, the governor
And may have
said,
put us in a position of being sued because they were unjustly fired.
right, which is more money that we got to spend. You know, the governor was talking about his budget challenge, and the interviewer kept saying, well, what are you cutting? And he says, we're going to make smart fiscal investments. We're going to make good decisions. She said, well, what does that mean? Or it might have been a he. Are you cutting programs? Are you cutting services? He couldn't answer the question. The
He
question
didn't
is
want to
yes
answer
or
the
no.
questions.
Well, no, because the plan is deficit spending and then go tax folks,
Mm-hmm.
add more fees, and to say that you're not going to raise our taxes, you know what? When you go up on camera light fees, when you go up so that now when it comes time to register your car, you're having to pay uh, 70 to $100 more. When we're seeing fees, higher fees assessed, it is just like a tax. Do
Yeah,
not think we are stupid.
right. That part.
Every time you turn around, the way our government continues to have its foot on the backs of the people. It's either taxes, it's either assessments, or it's either some type of penalties added on to something so that they can make money and never have to do the real work of going out there and doing finding other streams of revenues so that we can have all the niceties in the state and in the
Going
county.
to get emissions when it used to be $14 and now you pull up it's $30.
See,
It's
ridiculous
crazy.
jumps.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah, for them to hook a little computer up to your car to see
Mm-hmm.
if it's clean enough to drive.
And then you have to ask, well, where is the money going? In the school system, I think the legislators were asking, and this part is the former county executive's fault, and also our legislators, because even after she didn't give them money, they requested, they wanted to find out, you gave all of these discounts um, to developers. What did that amount to? There were other things that they
Oh,
had done that our legislators were asking, because remember, they wanted our legislators to repeal the energy tax and the communication tax and then rewrite the legislation so the money would go directly to the county. So they asked the question of the county executive, produce to us all this other money we're hearing that has been given away, basically wasted. And the last I remember hearing from the legislators, that information was never presented. But yet and still, the fault on them, you still pass the bill
not
so
only
that
did
they
they
could
pass
get the
the
money.
bill, they supported her to go to the Senate. Because in the words of the backroom people, we just want her out of our business. But my thing is, why didn't they subpoena what they wanted to know?
Exactly.
You know, now she's leading the redistricting thing. It's just, you know,
Messy.
this graveyard is just getting foul. The caskets I hope will start cracking open and the dog's gonna be sniffing. I'm sorry, anybody that's listening to this and you don't handle death well, but that's what it is around here. We got a bunch of dead bones that people are covering up. And we
Mhm.
can't get rid. The only way we're gonna get rid of it is that y'all don't vote for none of these people. You
Right.
don't vote for the people they recommend. You vote for the next person down. If you don't know who to vote for, don't vote for the person that's already in the job. If that's
Exactly.
it. I'm sorry. I
I
can't
agree.
say it any other
Mm-hmm.
way.
And even if they didn't do things, because there are those who are complicit. They're not doing it, but they still go along with it, or I
Mm-hmm.
recuse myself. You know what? Shame on you for recusing yourself,
Yep.
because you are being paid to get information and make intelligent decisions on behalf of your constituents. So shame on you of saying I abstain, just so that you can't say that you pushed this bad agenda or
Right.
that you had any part of that bad decision. You did, because you sat there and you were quiet. So me, anybody, anyone, especially on that council, anybody on that council running for higher office don't deserve it.
No.
Because they sat there and watched all of this foolishness go on at the expense of your tax dollars. But now they want to go to higher office because they don't like where they are.
Higher
No.
office or higher incomes.
Exactly. And they
Because
don't
y'all
deserve
still
it.
guilty. You took an oath of office to defend the Constitution. You sit in rooms and you know that they're doing things that are not legal, that are ethically questionable, that are gray matter, that they don't want you to get legal instruction on. Like, you guilty too. So
Right.
you jumping ship. Why? Because you think if the investigators come, you won't be incriminated because you no longer sitting on the council desk. No, you still can be deposed as a witness, and they may even try to prosecute you unless you give up some good information.
Right. Yeah. Right now, this should be against incumbents. I'm sorry. Especially the incumbents that we have in Prince George's County. They
Yep.
do not deserve another
Nope.
chance. They do
Nope.
not deserve higher office at all.
No.
And for those on the council who are attorneys, sitting here watching all of this fallacy, watching all of this corruption, and all you can do is say, it just makes me sick when I see it. But you still go along with it.
Yep.
No, you do not deserve any promotion.
Because at some point, if you don't recuse yourself from the conversation, you've already missed your opportunity. If you were going to resign because of nonsense that was happening, whether it's the Board of Education or the council, then you should have done it after the first day when you saw the first time you saw the messiness. You know,
Exactly.
and so my favorite other phrase right now is intention and integrity. But you got to be coming with that. Intention
Yes.
and integrity. Okay. Who's next? What's next?
Well, let's talk about our cases that we just filed.
Okay.
Sherman, you want to share some of those?
Not really.
You don't want to share? Okay. You want one of us to share it?
I
You don't
mean,
want to share yours?
I'm just trying to wait and see what happens.
Okay. Well, the thing is, we want people to know, especially for those who have donated, because we have this GoFundMe.
Oh, well, mine wasn't donated. I paid out of pocket for mine.
Well, I know. Yeah, I was going to say that, but that's why you should say yours, because that was the thing I was going to say. We do have a GoFundMe,
I'm just really not in the mood.
Huh?
I'm just really not in the mood.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll jump in when you're ready.
Because
it's the Libra in him. Lord, I did not know he was a Libra. When he told me he was a Libra, I said, that's it. I don't even be doing zodiacs and stuff. But man, when I tell you, I see him in a whole new light.
Okay.
I'll
have to look that up.
We just need to light all of this up. Just burn it all down and start all over from the ashes. That's basically where the county's at. It's going to hell in the handbasket. And before somebody screen record me going on a rant and tie that to my campaign, I would just rather hold my peace and pray the Lord fight my battle.
Hold my mule.
I just can't fathom how people don't have pitchforks headed up to the council administration building and standing out there and gathering the Jack Stuff'em and Stuff'ems and Leslie Park. So I really just I'm tired. I mean, and now I'm hearing that Tom Denoga may,
create another vacancy
as well. And so I mean I hope not, but that's like Mama Joyce say the streets the streets talking and saying, but like
well, let's talk a little bit about
Fannie Lou Hamer, when she say, can't you see what they doing to you? And I know you talked about MLK earlier, and Fannie Lou Hamer was a good friend of his, and everybody always know I always talk about Fannie and try to give a little of her story, but even she opposed some of the stuff King did and thought he took too long, and She rallied against the pulpit, and also the dais on, for with government, and that's where I'm at. That was my picture on Facebook for like an entire year and a half, and I need to put it back up because that is my mood. She is my mood right now because you ought to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there are people who are justifying this, and I mean, they're bending, breaking their back trying to, you know, um, say all of this is legal, and even though as that may be ethical, you know, yeah, I don't know, just yeah. But
Well,
anyway,
Well,
I am presently suing the government to get a declaratory judgment to determine if the funds used, the project charges and the other, not project charges, I'm sorry, the grant funding from the MGM is being used properly. Because for too long, they've just been using it as a piggy bank. And I'm
Mhm.
not just talking about this council, I'm talking about the county council in its totality. And I like good governance. And I understand that that's not some people think. To some people it's boring. To some people, it's like minuscule. They're like, unless you stuffing money in your panties, don't bother me. And I'm the opposite. You know, like you were talking about earlier, all the fees and fines and stuff that adds up.
Yeah.
And as a person who work hard as shit, I like to know where my money is going.
Right.
And when I see and I read and I observe the things that I do, it troubles my soul. It troubles my spirit. And I am exhausted,
that's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
I
but
feel you,
I
brother.
can't stop because,
Right.
as Frederick Douglass said, you have to agitate, agitate, agitate. Because I feel like if we don't, then who will?
Yep.
Exactly.
Because people always say, "Oh, well, why y'all so negative?" This is not the design and the purpose of this group.
No, no.
We chastise when we need to, and we congratulate when we can. But so far, it's been lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Libra, I can say that. As you see, I got my scales up, but essentially that's just what's going on. And you know, it's just a trick of the enemy because they're making it seem like they're doing all this beneficial stuff for us, and really they're lining their own pockets.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
What I said was on
And it,
King Holiday was all these people out here quoting him and they doing their own people dirty. If you
mm-hmm.
listen to some of
Exactly.
his speeches and you just change white to black, it applies to
Mhm.
today.
Right.
And I mean, I'm sorry, this just Prince George's County.
But even when they say silence is complicit, to be complicit, when we talk about racism and that whole
Yeah,
thing,
it
but to
applies.
be silent and everything that's happening right now, you are complicit with everything that's happening right now.
Right.
Hmm.
And
Right.
people feel like it's a personal attack. A lot of people aren't even aware of what happens in government. They
Nope.
assume and they believe. And let me tell you something, and this is from the top, from the bottom to the top. Never assume anything about your government because a lot of times, I mean, obviously, a lot of people know the government operates like 10, 15 years behind the public sector. But when you start to look at the laws and understand who wrote them, how they were executed, and the true purpose and design behind a lot of them, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I wish I could I could take the what is the blue pill? I forgot that it's been so long after I love the Matrix, but I just
Oh,
wish I
from the
can unsee.
Matrix?
I tell my
Yeah.
friends this all the time that I wish I can unsee what I've learned.
Yeah,
And I
that's
Mm-hmm.
what
wish I could
Wayne.
just go back into just being, to having fun at brunch.
Well,
Yeah, the
you
first
and
black county executive, Wayne K. Curry, he used to tell me all the time, Levon, lawyers write the laws, so they know where the loopholes are.
right.
And
They put them in the
so,
law for that,
Well,
for
I
that
was going to
purpose.
say, not only do they put them in the law, they hire staff for the ones they don't write to
to
go out and
find them.
find where they are.
Yeah. That's what he used to say. He used to say they either write them in or they hire people to find them. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but Wayne, that's not like that's just wrong. And he said, it's how it started. It's
That's
it's
how it
not
is.
new.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you how it's done. And I just think that we need to get out of our personal feelings about people And I mean, don't get me wrong, I got my people that I love dearly, but I will tell them they are wrong when they are wrong.
Exactly.
And see that?
And don't come for us because you don't like what we're saying. If we're lying, call us a liar and then show us. And here's my new trick, y'all. I always ask people, okay, well, show me an example of why you think what you think, because I told you why I think what I think. Or, well, no, you the one to disagree with me. Keep it. Y'all can hold it. Because you're not adding to a solution. You're diverting the conversation, making it personal. You don't attack the person who's carrying the message. Read the message, decide if you agree or disagree, decide if you're going to comment about the message, and then when you comment, hit your arrow and keep it moving. If you can't comment about the message, then keep scrolling. But don't come for people saying that they're bitter, they're negative, they're this. And I want to shout out the Brandywine cohort. I can't think of their y'all
Coalition BTB. Yeah.
Sherman, what's the name of that group?
Brandywine BTB Coalition.
Yeah, y'all are doing
Well, I don't
it,
think it's
man.
BTB. Yes, the Brandywine, Maryland. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
y'all are
the separate
doing
one.
it. I'm loving the way you're posting. John White, I love the way you're posting. Of course, our girl Caroline Jingori, she out here doing her thing. Like all of you who are stating your positions,
Right.
thank you. Because you're generating much needed conversation and information. And it's not about whether you agree or disagree. It's about, is it factual?
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Derek, you had something you were
I
saying?
have adjectives, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Revolted and nauseated. You know, that's what I feel about this council right now.
And I feel your aura, Sherman. I understand it, and that's exactly what negative energy and the enemy wants. They want us to get upset, fall aside, quit. Like Tanya always tell me, Derek, we got to keep pumping. You can't quit. But my comment is that the people
No, it's
who
not about quitting. It's just that where are the other people who should be outraged with us?
right, well, I'm not meaning quit, meaning you quit. That was just a
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
of speech. But
In general, I know what you mean.
yeah, but the people who are sitting on the county councils and the school boards and things that hear things that are illegal and know things that are wrong and sit there and say I recuse myself for thinking that. I think some of that, and not to make an excuse for you, but some of that is that you're afraid of the outcome and being ousted and set
Mhm.
aside, not being able to
Yep.
run for another seat because somebody
Or
has
get
already
that
told you.
invite.
I remember you didn't support us when we were getting ready to make that decision on that law, that bill, and excuse my phone, and you're not a team player. We can't count on you. But if wrong is wrong and it is not benefiting the people, we the people, stop being afraid to speak out and to be the voice that we used to have in the African American community and people like Fannie Lou Hamer and Dr. Martin Luther King. They spoke and said what nobody else was saying or had the courage to say at the time. And some of these people lost their lives for it. I get it. But we were able to make progress on the back of that courage because somebody spoke truth. When you
Right.
sit there and just accept seeing money being handled under the table for favors and well, I make sure you get that seat if you leave this seat. Come on, man. That's not how it's supposed to be. And we have to stop that. Somebody has to speak out. And I think that's what this group is doing. We're not worrying about whose feelings we rub wrong. We're not wanting to be hated by anybody, but I don't think we care because we got to tell the truth. And we
gotta
back
do
it up with
right.
factual information.
But
And I just
also,
wanted, well, wait a
one of
minute.
the last lawsuit that I have
Mhm.
that's coming up is, well, I mean, that the group has that and Representative started is the appointment of Ingrid Watson for the president CEO of the EDC. And it is based on the process of which it happened. we are trying to determine if it was a legal process for the county executive to just name and appoint someone into that position. The bylaws doesn't state that she has authority or can. It's more so of an advisory or um, an option to suggest someone, but nothing gives the county executive power or authority. It actually says that the executive board for the EDC shall find somebody in order to do that. So it doesn't say, and in addition to the county executive. So pretty much for me, because I'm tired of people looking at me like I'm crazy or, making me feel like I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, well, maybe let me get a judge to determine, if it's legal or not. And if they decide that it was lawful, then all right by me. But
Well,
um,
but
I
remember
know what you're gonna
now,
say.
Well,
they never try to decide our things on the merits. They
Yeah.
always try to
Well,
find some
this is my
way.
third time filing this, so we gonna be on the merits.
Yeah, we and speaking of other things, and again, like we said, we are taking action. We're not just sitting up here posting like some people think. Oh, you're doing this. No, we put our money where our mouth is. So also, what we have before the circuit court, when the State Board of Education dismissed, we filed our appeal in July. The state board set on that appeal
Okay,
from,
you gonna let people know which one you're talking about.
yeah, they set on, there were two appeals. So we had an appeal where we challenged the state board of, the state superintendent approval of Dr. Sean Joseph's contract
Well,
because,
before that one, there's the previous one that's been going on for the last few years.
oh, wow. The one, okay,
I
let me do
always have
that
to
one
write.
last. Let me do that one last, since that one is sitting up at the appellate court. Um, But the state, we challenged the state superintendent um, um, approving the contract of Dr. Sean Joseph, and in the manner that which she did it. It wasn't signed until the I think it was the 7th or the 8th of September, but then she backdated it to try to cover all the illegal stuff he did from June 27th on. You can't do that. This is the state superintendent buying into this stuff. And then the following month, she gets an award from the Prince George's County Education Foundation. But so we challenged that and the fact that we also gave credible evidence that also was sent to the state's attorney to investigate that showed that Millard House was forced out by being threatened by by council member Edward Burrows. And we gave credible evidence of him being threatened. And then Brandon Jackson and Aisha Brayboy, who was at that time was the state's attorney, who should have been prosecuting Edward Burrows for doing that, was part of it. So we gave all that information. They set on our appeal from September, October, November, and then in December, on December 9th, they're going to make a decision, trying to figure out how they're going to finagle out of it, and then just said, we're going to dismiss it because we don't say you have standing. Try to say that we don't have kids in the school system. Well, one of the petitioners has two kids in the school system, but we also filed on the standing of the taxpayer standing,
there you go.
which they've granted us that standing many times before, but now all of a sudden it doesn't matter. No, you don't have standing. So that case has been appealed to the circuit court for judicial review. The other one had to do with the boards approving the contract of Dr. Joseph. Well, they approved the contract before they did the appointment. And Comar is clear the process that's supposed to happen. So we did that, plus the fact that through an MPIA, they gave us information that I don't think they really wanted us to have. But they said it because some folks do not understand that when you send an Outlook message and you have the option on that says send previous conversations, they all come over, y'all. Just so y'all know that. So you sent us information that I don't think you really wanted us to have. And in doing so, we were able to find out some other illegal stuff done by Brandon Jackson, the board chair, and condoned by the state superintendent, Dr. Carey Wright, where they acknowledge in this communication that Aisha Braveboy did not follow the right process for the selection of Dr. Sean Joseph. We got it in print. We got it in print where she told them that they have to follow the process.
And
But
this
yet
why I have a problem
still,
with everybody wanting an attorney to be your elected official when they don't even follow the laws themselves or can interpret the
exactly.
laws properly.
And see, I guess they were shocked that they made a mistake and gave us all this information. And so we brought that out. So I guess it took them 4 months to figure out what we gonna do because we screwed. They got the evidence. Oh, we'll just dismiss it based on standing. And so that's what the state board did. We have corruption, y'all, at the very top of our
It
government,
is.
everywhere in the state of Maryland. You can't trust the state board. You can't trust the state superintendent. The governor was given this information too. Nothing. Nothing. Not a referral to the state prosecutor. Nothing. And so we have appealed that also to the circuit court, and the one that was filed today that we filed has to do with the council in these musical chairs that they're playing. The council is doing the same thing that they did on the board by creating vacancies and then filling them with their loyalists. And that is not good government. That's corrupt government, period. And so we don't want that to be set as a precedent where someone decides, okay, you leave, I'll give you a better job, a higher paying job. You don't have to run for election again. And then you let us slide one of our people in. And that's what's happening at the council. And they think we're stupid that we can't even see this right in front of our eyes. So we have also filed a motion for a temporary restraining order and an injunction to stop this process of the council. That is not what home rule was established for. That is not what the provision for appointment was established for. But again, just like they use our tax dollars like they're never-ending campaign money, they are using this this language in the law to make sure they pad the council with their loyalists and those who will not give them any pushback with their corrupt ways. Now, understand, every time we file one of these actions, it's $165 to file it. This is coming out of our pockets. We are doing this, and we're not the only beneficiaries. You benefit also.
Mm-hmm.
We have to pay $60 per defendant or petitioner to be served by the sheriff. So with all of the corruption that we have in the county, it gets to be expensive. So for those of you who say you're sick and tired and you're done and you don't want to see this stuff anymore, and you want to support us, you can support us monetarily. We will definitely let you know the money that's come in. So far, we have received $100. I want to thank those who have come in, and that money has already been used so that we can file cases and have proper service. So we're not just talking here, because the only thing that's going to get things moving at this point is we have to hit the judiciary side, and to the point where with this matter, we are asking it to be moved into a another venue, because right now we can't trust Prince George's County judicial system either. They try to find everything they can on us to dismiss the matters that we send, never on the merit now. They never decide on the merit. It's always they try to find a technicality. They refuse to, or again, it's like we said before, they're like a boxer that gets in the ring and then keeps running around away from the other boxer because they never want to decide on the merits. So we also need, if you want to help us out, you're an attorney, you're a paralegal, you can do legal research, come on and help us out because we have to find I think we have found strong reasons or support for standing, but we now see that they've kind of upped up their game of just dismissing it so that they can buy time to do other things. So we need help in that way. So those are the things that we are doing. We are not just sitting around posting, guys. Trust us. We are putting our money where our mouth is. We are putting our hands on the keyboard. We are typing out things. We are approving things. You know, they'll tell my colleagues will tell you, my co-hosts, I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes to work on things. So we need your support and help in more than just a post
And be texting too.
Yes, and we texted too. Yeah, we do sometimes text early.
Now I be up filing my stuff and reading orders and stuff, but I still don't be liking the text sometimes. I'm like, we have enough time.
This is a lot of work, and we don't need the criticism. If you ain't got nothing to say that's gonna push us on or give us some information or some direction or give us a draft of something, keep it to yourself.
You know,
I
every time I
don't
hear
care.
criticize, when I hear the word criticize, I keep thinking about Django when they say criticize, criticize, criticize.
Oh, I
And when
never
they,
watched that. That's
oh,
funny.
okay.
But I
They
don't
did the
care
hoodies
because
wrong.
you don't know the
The
source
hoods.
of our commitment. You don't understand what brought us to this space. And it's not for you to make judgments about our commitment to wanting decency in government. Decency. I just got a message that some folk getting fired. I ain't gonna say where, but they firing folk.
Tanya, what's the
Oh,
other
well,
stuff we
that
have going
sounds
on?
like the council because since they passed that bill, that
Tanya,
resolution, huh?
we before you go
Oh,
off
the
tangent,
last one. The last one.
thank you.
Thank you, Sherman.
Oh,
So the
sorry.
last one, and this is so funny, especially to see this council person. Now remember, this council person was a former board member. They start their corruption, a lot of them, they start their corruption on the board and they take it over to the council. So we still have before the appellate court because again, we had something that was dismissed, not on the merits, but on a so-called technicality. We went to the appellate court. We appealed that to the appellate court, and the attorney for Shayla Adams Stafford. My understanding, this gentleman is the golden boy for the county. But anyway, he tried to file a motion to dismiss our matter. That was denied. So at this point, we have asked for for oral arguments. We're waiting to hear back for the review. I know sometimes the review can take a year or so, but we do have that before in regards to Shayla Adams Stafford and the 36,000. What was it? Ooh, I forgot the number now.
$36,411 and some change.
92 cents, I think it is. Yes. And so, yeah, I said that number so often I forgot it now. But anyway, and remember, this was investigated by the Office of Integrity and Compliance. And so this is something impartial from us. And it was determined that the so-called invoices that Shayla Adams Stafford submitted for reimbursement was done on a matter that was closed. Anybody who works in law firms, closed matters you don't bill on because they're closed. Her attorney, Lewis McDaniels, never submitted one piece of paperwork on her behalf. Not one piece of paperwork. And you know why? Because the matter was closed.
Hmm.
But yet and still, they and this is another thing, like I said, they don't understand about how when you send those messages, that if you have that option on that says send the whole thread, it sends the whole thread. So of course we can read down the thread and we can see where her attorney is asking our finance office how to fix up their invoices. We got that. It's in print. They're asking them, these are supposed to be your invoices, but you're asking them, oh, what do I need to do? How do I fix up my invoice? And that's being sent over for payment. So it has been, it's an impartial or neutral party that did the investigation. Of course, we know the little block don't like it because we saw Edward Burrows when he was the chair. Why are we paying him to investigate former board members? Because they're thieves. That's
The
why.
paper trail.
Exactly. They stole. That's why. That's why they were investigated. They stole. They are a thief. And again, if you don't like what I say, you can sue me, whatever you want to do, because I would love for us to have some discovery. I would love for us to have some discovery. But that case is still waiting. We're still waiting to hear for the review of that or the appeal of that, and to see if there's just going to be a decision made, if we're going to be able to go and have oral arguments about it. But it is clear. All the evidence is sitting right there in black and white. Her attorney submitted invoices, was sitting up here getting advice from our financial office about how to doctor up his invoices. And even the invoices that he sent were a violation of state law. Now, we reported him to the bar, and the bar opened up their case and said, we'll update you. It's been 2 years now, and heard a word from the bar, so we can't even trust our Maryland bar. But
Who's the president of the Maryland bar?
I'm not sure who the president is, but I know one of the commissioners on there is Dennis Whitley. I know that from Shipley Horn. But
why is that significant?
Huh?
Why is that significant?
Because maybe
he
we
was
need to
the
call
board.
him out.
Tanya, I mean Levon.
But
They're the attorneys for the board. They are the attorneys for the board.
why am I being chastised?
Because I was asking her to fill the public in on who Dennis Whitley is.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
if you not, it's okay. Now you know.
Your question was late. Go.
Okay, so yeah, he was. They still are, and that was the other thing. I don't remember seeing him in public where they extended the contract of this law firm. But anyway, that's why that is so significant, and the fact that Shipley Horn violated board policy when Judy Mickens Murray allowed them to come up and
Waiver
represent.
integrity.
But wait, hey Tanya, but wait a minute. You took Dennis Whitley to the Maryland State Bar, and it was a conflict of interest because he was sitting on the same
Oh,
bar.
remember what happened to that?
So say that part. You remember you took Dennis Whitley to the bar, and
Not only me, so did Dr. Miller, Dr. Juanita
Right.
Miller.
and to come to find out he was on the state bar that you were taking him to complain to him about. So
Right,
elaborate on
but
that.
but remember, they did move our complaints to DC because he was on the he is a commissioner on the bar.
Right.
So they did move that, but what was so funny is they came back and we showed the evidence of where Dennis Whitley in open court. Now he wasn't under oath, but he said this in open court. He said things that were not factual, and we highlighted the things that he did that were misleading to the judge in that case. And we noted all those things. And we also did on one of the chats too, where we went over line by line all the things that we accused them of. And the DC bar that actually did the review for the Maryland bar said, we don't see any misconduct.
They don't see any misconduct without Aisha misrepresenting her role with the negotiations with
Yep,
Mr. House, right?
they sure
So,
did. They told me
so
that.
what governing body has authority over the bar associations? Because obviously we can't trust these people. So who do we complain to?
Right.
Exactly. Now remember, we just had an example of this in Congress. The representative in Arizona who could not do one piece of work, she could not do 1 hour, 1 second of work as a representative until she was sworn in. She couldn't do anything for that office until she was sworn in. Yet and still, the Maryland Bar told us that Aisha Braveboy, who did an official act of a county executive, did not commit misconduct. She was part of the negotiations to force out Millard House, who was threatened by Edward Burroughs. And they said no misconduct. No misconduct. She got up here on the camera and told us the board decided to separate from him, knowing that she was part of the separation agreement. Not only was she part of it, she agreed that she would try to find a way to help pay for it. But yet and still, the bar said no misconduct.
Yeah.
So is this an Anthony
Well, that
Brown
was
situation?
Huh?
Is this something that Anthony Brown should be looking at
You would think.
while he chasing these nonprofit organizations or elsewhere? He need to be doing something here at home.
no,
Well,
it's
you
too
know it.
close. It's too close for home for comfort. So, but gonna say let's move on to the next topic. We got T minus 30. So I do want to update everybody on what's happening with the MPIA request that I have. I guess I can give a little bit of that information. I am working on my own little mini review, if not an audit, um, inside joke of the Elevate PGC, the response with the trash cleanup and all the debris removals from different properties, and also trying to get the I got a lot of information. I mean, it was droves of documentation that I've been pouring over, and I mean, it's been like over 40, 50 something, or actually 50 something emails that I received so far, and each one of them had a large attachment with several properties, and I mean, they gave me the whole thing so far, so it's a lot to go over. But um what I'm trying to determine, not only was it legal, because of course the council cutting private grass is definitely not what we should be doing with our with our money, especially in a budget deficit. But um if it was legal, was the charges consistent across, all the jobs, were the rates documented, or had reasonable rates? That they justify a lot of the stuff that they did? And I can briefly give you an answer to that. That is has not fully happened entirely. The controls are very weak. As we know, the contracting um, legislation and the guides that we have are not as robust as they should be. And a lot of the audits have already um, pointed in the direction that there's always missing documentation or justifications for the approval, or the approval authority is not there or is backdated. So that's what I'm just trying to determine exactly with these contracts. I was told initially that there were no new contractors, that they use all the same people. So it just piqued my interest. I was curious. I was like, okay, well, what different did Aisha Braveboy do that Angela also Brooks wasn't doing? And while I did not have it, I guess I haven't really seen the difference of whatever of who was doing what, because I haven't looked that far into it yet. But most certainly, it's been quite a difference from, you all have seen it. I don't know how else I can actually explain it. There was a
Mhm.
big push saying, "Oh, we're doing all this, remarkable cleanup of neighborhoods and boarding up, blighted and vacant property." So I just want to see, where's the money going?
And then they
How much ever
pollute,
was.
Follow the
and then
money.
they turn around and put Elevate Prince George's signs around polluting the area,
Mhm.
visual
Now,
pollution.
Well,
one
we
question
have
that you
World
had,
War
Levon.
II.
Oh, yeah, just one second, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
pass it over to you because you have that other thing that you sent me. That's why I wanted to get this out the way. But Levon had a question, and we had most certainly been posting it on Deep High's post about the financial portion and where these properties being fined. And I can say that the majority are being fined. There has been some that has been recouped, but of course there's a larger portion that has not been, and we don't know entirely if it will be recouped, or what mechanisms they're doing outside of the liens on the property and how those will be enforced. But I can say that these things range from like $700 to like the thousands, and I mean like double digits. So,
With the
um,
fines?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, the fines because of the cleanup. Some of the contractors have charged upward to like 13 to $15,000 for certain things. And I mean, one property was 3 acres and it had like very tall grass. But that doesn't justify anything because just because of that way, the government should have a way and means which they can justify the cost per unit or whatever it is that they're doing. And Donna could definitely attest to that because just because, someone is um doing grass cutting, there's some other things that, we definitely need to kind of seek the information for. So if the grass is over 12 inches, between 12 and 36 inches, there should be a rate for that, one, to 1.5 times whatever the basic rate was for the market rate. And then, if it's over than that, then it should definitely be, it should be tiered and stacked. But we don't have that in this county. It's just like make it up as you go along, essentially, basically from what I'm seeing in these documentations. And that's another reason why I get depressed because again, these things add up, and whether you feel like it's not that much money, to me it is,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we broke. We should be pitching pennies and well, no more pennies, I guess nickels and dimes, but you know, um, we need to try to figure out how to stop the bleed.
Right. Right. Well, and I also have an MPIA request out, and eh, I've noticed that I don't get all those flyers like I used to about my academy, my this, my crabs, my whatever. I've noticed those have stopped, but I still want to find out because that's a lot of money that the council has been spending on colored printing. So I do have a request out of inquiring about the vendors and how much money we have been spending on all of these colorful flyers that we've been sending out to everybody and how much we are paying these printing companies. Because again, those are our tax dollars. Even though they're saying they're using it for a certain reason, we want to find out. Now, the other thing I just want to just talk about briefly, because there was a question that someone asked me about. We were talking about the Sphere. I'm not, if I said it wrong, Levon, forgive me. But anyway, we were talking about that little bowl.
Sphere.
We're talking about, I'm gonna call it the bowl.
The dome, the ball, yeah.
All the confusion. Hey, Sherman, hey, we gotta hit that before we go tonight. But anyway, we were thank you, Sherman. We were talking about that on the chat, and I was saying how I felt being a resident in the Fort Washington area and subsidizing this infrastructure building that's going on at the harbor. And somebody challenged and said, "Oh, yeah, you got your opinions." Da, 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 da. Well, someone had given me information about it before, but I never really paid it any attention until I just kept seeing my tax bill rise up and up and up and up and up. And Donna, some of y'all may not know, I actually bought Donna's mother's house. So she's familiar with this house. So So I bought it a few years ago, and I started looking at my tax bill. So let's go to my first year. So is that the first one?
That was the first
2022?
one of your PowerPoint.
Okay, yeah. So I was looking at my tax bill. Now I do, and Lavon, you may know this, and or either Sherman, because I started looking at. I never realized how much money we pay towards park and planning
Oh yeah, that's
in our
one of people's
taxes.
biggest complaints when it comes to taxes. They like, I don't even use the parks, I don't use the rec centers. Why they always, and they have no, they can go up on their stuff. That doesn't fall under the trim stuff.
Oh my gosh. And we
Mhm.
barely have parks here in Fort Washington. So not to this tune, but anyway, when I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking about the county property tax supplemental education. And I was just like, do you know what that is, Lavon?
What is it?
The county property tax supplemental education tax that
I
we're
think
paying?
that's the thing Rashawn did. Is that the 15 cents?
Oh, is that what that is?
That might be that.
So that's going straight for education?
Yeah, when he not 15 cents, he did the 7 cents thing.
I'm
But I
telling you, you know what? Start looking at your tax bill because I started looking at mine more closely. Sherman, you can put it back on because I was just that was shocking to me. But when I first moved into my house, you can see my taxes were my county taxes, and I know there's other taxes added in, was about $2,800. And now you can see it's gone up. It went up to 2852 and then 2880 up. You can see my assessment is at 300,000, but it's 2882. And now it's a whopping 3122. And I'm just like, so my taxes are keep rising, but on top of my taxes going up, Sherman, let's go to the next one. I have a special tax that's assessed of $1,216. Now, Donna can attest to this. The house is 46 years old. Um, Donna, are there any new roads out here? No. Yeah, no new roads. We've had no new infrastructure. You walk on in my cul-de-sac, I think we have one of those drain sewages. That's just one in this entire cul-de-sac.
Now
So,
they did put the overpass that, to try to take some of that Indian Head Highway traffic off.
right, but
But
all of that was to help with the harbor.
that's right. I was
So,
just going to say, but I think that was more focused on the harbor, not
exactly.
the
That was
development, not the park down there, none of
not
that.
for the people.
And,
No,
and
Yeah.
the and the
nothing for the
roads
people.
and the roads coming into your cul-de-sac and out of your cul-de-sac, man, you might have to buy a new tire coming out
Exactly.
here with
Well,
all them
remember,
potholes.
y'all remember last year when my car was down because I hit that big pothole on St. Barnabas Road that took me down
Man,
so
I see.
far it cracked the underguard of my car.
Wow.
Mhm.
So my car was down for about 2.5 months, going back and forth with the insurance company to find the part for a Hyundai. Um, so that's how bad our roads are. So there is this special tax that I am paying, and usually, like, from what I've learned, when there's new infrastructure and new development that's going on, they set up a taxing district so that the people who are going to benefit the most actually are taxed the most in that area. But sometimes our government will do something where they'll tack on a special tax in neighboring areas. And this special tax, it usually goes for, and Sherman, let's go to the next one that it talks about the things that it usually covers. So there's my special tax. And usually, if you're paying a special tax, it's because there's an infrastructure in your subdivision or development. Donna, do we have one in here? No. There's no new roads, no landscaping. Matter of fact, Denison's was sold, so Denison's is closing down. So that's more jobs leaving out Prince
wow.
George's County. Yeah. Ongoing maintenance, not with the potholes we have over here. So we know it's not for that. Snow removal, the cul-de-sac that I live in, we usually, the neighbors, we all get out and we have to shovel our own snow. I'm at the end of the cul-de-sac, so all the water comes streaming down to me. And then bond repayments. And that's usually for bonds over 20 to 30 years. This house is 45 years old. And again, the only really new construction in this area was that overpass, and that was to help take the traffic, ease traffic, because of the harbor. So that is why I say that the government has a way of not being transparent, of assessing a tax so that they can still have you subsidize something else in the government that you're not benefiting off of. And when when you call and you ask about the special tax, because I'm a realtor also, and usually when I see it, I've before tried to figure out, well, what is this? You don't get an answer. They usually just give you the textbook response. Oh, it goes to pay for infrastructure and maintenance and to bonds. They just give you that same thing that I got there, that same old scenario. They don't really give you stuff specific. You can do more investigating to get it, but they don't just tell you right off. So it's a lack of transparency. And that is why I say they use our taxes in the Fort Washington and the Oxon Hill area to subsidize, because you have some very old neighborhoods in these areas, houses over 40 years old. Why are we getting these special taxes and we do not have any updates in our community? We do not have updates on our road. But I am paying a extra $1,200 a month. I mean a year, to subsidize something that I am not benefiting from. So we need to take closer looks at a closer look at our taxes. I'm going to be doing this much more. I'm going to be much more inquisitive. I'm going to ask. I already have the numbers. I'm going to call back again, and because I want to find out, what is this $1,200 that I'm paying extra on top of my county taxes, which continue to go up. I want to know how am I benefiting from this?
And the assessments, I don't know how they're doing them, because there have been no, new houses in the area. You don't see major
We're being
sales
assessed off of those new things at Harbor.
I'm not that far down that I should be impacted by that there in Harbor.
Oh, but you remember, you got the new development down
New
there by you.
townhouses? How are you assessing my house and a bunch of townhouses?
Yeah.
You putting them in that same, because they're putting
ridiculous.
these townhouses here all over the place. We're supposed to extend, widen the roads. Didn't do that. We still don't have any public transportation that comes up in that area. So what are we benefiting from? We have like 3-4 daggone gas stations that are up here now.
Yeah, y'all got skeets.
Just all up.
But Donna, did you check to see if you have a special tax? Because I know you said yours has gone up like.
I did not check that, but I am. I thought about it after you said that. I forgot to check for these special taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But my taxes, my assessment is a bunch of malarkey. So I do plan to appeal mine. And if nothing else, just appeal it to appeal it. Just appeal so a lot of people can start flooding and make them answer to us to why they think they can just jump these taxes and our assessments off the roof.
Mm-hmm. Because if they take that $1,200 away from me, my taxes go down to $3,600. And if I'm not benefiting from it, and it's the folks at the harbor, you all pay it. Don't make me pay it.
Well, we can do like the people at Target and Home Depot. When they buy the ice, they bought ice this weekend and returned it. They bought ice scrapers at Home Depot. So we could do that. We could do the same thing. But Black folk in Prince George's County don't like the protest. They don't like the, they think they got here by osmosis. that nobody paved the way for the lives that they live. And, you know, you got to do something and contribute something. And you just keep, you know, I'm looking at the Facebook post, and I want to say one more thing about the Facebook post. All these new people coming on here wanting to talk about Ingrid Watson. Go do your homework. If you don't know what EDC does, go to the website and read it for yourself. If you don't know why Ingrid is not deemed qualified in our opinion, go to her bio and read it, and then you can compare the work of EDC to her bio. If you don't understand why we are concerned that people are manipulating the votes that you cast, whether we agree with the people in the seats or not, still the people put you there and they don't appreciate you, they don't respect you enough to serve their term because they have their own self-serving interests, then you need to go figure out what an elected person, what their oath is. Go read their oath of office, and then you'll see that we believe that they are sacrificing us for their own gain.
Right.
So this is not personal. This is not about Ingrid. I mean, let's just forget the fact that she didn't live in her district and they proved it. And I know Ingrid, so, you know, whatever. I don't care. Call me bitter. Call me what you want to call me. But don't come on the CAG page picking arguments because you trying to defend your friend. We cannot separate Ingrid Watson from this conversation because Ingrid is the one collecting a $245,000 check. Now, if she wants to do the job for free, then we're going to let her do it for free. God bless her. But last time I checked,
No, we won't. I don't know why you would tell that lie.
We know she ain't. Because
No,
her husband tried to get
I'm saying I don't know why I mean, I know you being tongue in cheek about it, but I wouldn't accept that if it was free either. Again, it's processes.
No, but somebody said we're going hard on her. So the analysis of that is, how do you separate it when she the one getting the paycheck? Her name is on the
Did we
check.
not go hard on Dr. Sean Joseph? And I know we've been mentioning Aisha Brayboy name too. We are going hard on corruption. And speaking of that, another unqualified one that I want to mention, David Murray.
Oh, God.
And one who stole from the school system also when he lied and did not resign his position as District 1 school board member while he knew he was holding a job in Missouri. And but still collected he was making over a six-figure job at that point, but yet he still stole from our children by collecting money as a school board member for the express purpose so that he could be there to vote in case they decided to vote House out. And that was the only reason why he would stay on. Went to the retreats, spent our money to go to different conferences while he knew he was living in Missouri, holding another job in another school system.
And he so ain't qualified for his job neither.
You know, exactly. And so what does Edward Burrows, because remember now, and I got this straight from the horse's mouth, he was getting along fine until Edward Burrows told Millard House, I want you to hire David Murray. And he said no. Next thing we know, vote of no confidence come from Dr. Donna Christie. Here's another liar here because we got evidence. We got the evidence of her being told by the union that she had misrepresented information, and it's in print. We have it in print. She's saying that she was going to pull that email back and correct things. Oh, but what does she do? She doubles down and says and lies about the number of teachers that did that vote of no confidence. But of course, in the Black community, when you put a white face on the message, they just fall in line. And so that's what they did, even though we have the evidence of her lying. But anyway, here we are. David Murray sitting up here as what is he again, y'all? He's
the acting chief administrative officer of the council, meaning he oversees all of the personnel, all of the budget, all of this legal staff, legal stuff on the council, policies and procedures.
Right. Now, remember, he was dumped. He was dumped from his job as I think he was the academic chief in Missouri. So he was like over the curriculum. So he was dumped in that job basically when they got rid of, they were getting rid of some people they had, and some stuff was budget from my understanding, but he was dumped from that job. So of course he had to come toting back into Prince George's County and didn't have a job. I mean, he should have been able to go back and be an educator, but no. He's put in a job where he has had no supervisory experience other than that short stint that he was in Missouri. Wasn't even a full year. And you put him over, and even though they're saying acting, but you put him over all of these people. When has he ever done evaluations? And
prior to the last one, Jennifer Jenkins, who was their friend that they brought in, and I'm gonna put friend in quotation marks, they had Bobby Williams, who is an attorney, who came up through, well, let me not say he's an attorney. He is an administrator. He had the skill set and the education to do the job. He came up through the ranks of government in different capacities. So he, when you work in the hotel industry and you're on the management track, they make you go clean rooms and turn beds and scrub toilets. They make you they make you learn what the hotel operations are. That was Bobby Williams, but they didn't want Bobby because they wanted somebody they could boss around, and Bobby was old enough to be their daddy. So they got rid of him, and now they got their friend. So we know what happens when the friends get together.
But and this friend is not qualified. Now
No.
his situation is being more unqualified than Ingrid. That is the true DEI right there. No qualifications for that job.
No.
But yet and still, he's friends with Edward Burrows. And why people are letting Edward Burrows be the kingpin for Prince George's County, I just do not understand.
I don't know, girl. Whatever pictures he got.
I know. Give me a copy of those negatives. I tell you. Because
that's all I'm gonna say.
It makes no sense at all. But yeah, so we're calling out all unqualified appointments.
And so let's just be real.
Ingrid.
Let's just say it like this.
And unethical folks that are just go from one agency to another and just taking our money, not doing nothing for it.
And let's just be clear. Some of these people win these seats and they not even qualified to be in the seats that they're in. Let's just start with that part. But y'all vote them in because they cute. They remind you of your grandbaby. They went the wrong way, went to jail. Your son that ain't no good. And you know what? He ain't hurting nobody. Give him a chance.
And they cut your grass. Don't forget they cut the grass.
Put the light bulbs in the put the street light bulbs in for you.
You know, if they could get the lights working on these streets, on these off ramps on the Beltway, that would be something they could do. That would be something that was worthwhile. At least they look like they was earning some money. Get a ladder and climb up there and help Pepco put the lights on the Beltway that we pay for. How about
last call?
We say last call. It must be 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes to 8. Well, yeah, last call. But again, y'all, we need everybody to get involved. We work, but we also have our own households that we must maintain. We don't mind doing what we're doing, but we do need help because we are
have a campaign to run.
Huh?
And I have a campaign to run.
Exactly. So, and Sherman's doing like triple duty, but and
I'm over here eating peppermints. I eat bonbons all day because I ain't got no job.
Why are you interrupting her to talk about peppermints? That's a $5 fine.
We need support. We need support because we have to step up this game because they are running scared, and we have to keep those legal challenges going.
Levon, go ahead and talk about your peppermint so we can close out.
She got her bonbon.
All right. Well, if all hearts and minds are clear, everybody, we thank you guys so much for entertaining us this evening and watching this chat. For those of you who missed anything, you can always rewind this. And once this is gone and no longer on Facebook because they only hold it for 30 days, you can always find all of the CAG chat lives and any episode that we do or uploads on our YouTube page. You can find that by, of course, using @CAGChat or looking for it there. And stay sane.
And keep fighting, y'all. Come on. We gotta keep it moving.
All right,
Deuces.
y'all.